Hello and welcome to the conference titled Game Picks. And yes, for today it's just me. Unfortunately, Chris and DJ are both busy. But we have some news. I did horrible in the divisional round when it came to making picks. And as you can see, there's a lot of red. There's red here, red here. You can't see it under there, but I picked Tampa, red there as well. That means I got three losses, one win. Unfortunately, I was able to scrap things up with the Kansas City pick, but not a good week for me picking games. But to be fair, each game was a close one. This is one of the rarities that in the divisional round that we find each game being decided by one score. And as you can see, 19 to 16 3-point game, 13 to 10 3-point game, 30 to 27 3-point game, and then this one was overtime one that went into first possession touchdown in overtime. Let me know if you guys think those rules should be changed. You guys think they should adopt the college rules where they start at the 25 and they they score, the other team has a chance to retaliate, and then so on and so forth. I personally like the NFL overtime rules. I think they are, good in terms, at least for the regular season. For the postseason, I'm not so sure because, the season's on the line, and let's say in this scenario, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, whoever gets the ball and scores first wins the game. I don't think that's fair in that scenario, but the rules are the rules. I think they should possibly consider changing them, at least for the playoffs, and put them in terms of, okay, in the playoffs, if they score an opening possession touchdown, the other team gets a chance to also score a touchdown following that. If not, then the game's decided there. But let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah, one for three on game picks last week. But in all fair, it was a close 3-point games, each of those losses. So it is what it is. Tampa was probably the only one that I'd say was not the most favorable one because they were losing. They came back, and then LA hit that game-winning field goal after the Cooper Kupp big time catch. The other ones, just close games decided by game winners. It is what it is. But let's go into the leaderboard real quick. You got a sneak peek at my picks there, but we'll talk about those in a second. DJ remains on top, 185-97. Steve has a realistic chance of catching up to him. I have no chance at all whatsoever. Steve is 183.99. So let's say Steve goes perfect with his picks this week and DJ goes completely wrong, losing both games. Then Steve has a chance to overtake him for first place, at least tie him for the moment being. But I'm stuck in third place. That is for certain at this moment, unless Steve gets wrong, and then, a lot of things. But for sure, I'm in the top three. And I don't see myself falling out of that unless Chris just has a miraculous run and I do horrible. But I doubt it. Honestly. Let's be real here. It's Chris 187, 178, 104. Matt 176, 106, and then Eddie 171, 111. Now, we have the AFC Championship game. Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, 3:05 on Sunday afternoon. And tough games. I think Cincinnati has had a magical run, but they've had the infrastructure to back that up. It's not just, what a lucky team to be here. They won their division. They played a big-time game against the Raiders. They had a huge win against the number one seed in the Tennessee Titans, and now they find themselves in the AFC Championship against the reigning AFC champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Tough one. You're going to Arrowhead. You're a young team. You're on a good, magical playoff run with a good season to back you up. Is it enough to beat this Kansas City team at home with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line? It's tough. Because you have a really tough team in the Kansas City Chiefs who have had the success for a few couple of years, and then when you stack that up with just their team finding a way to play very well defensively and finding their stride offensively as well. So, but that is also considered the Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Cincinnati Bengals I think in week 17 or 16, in one of the best games of that week. And Joe Burrow just played out of his mind, helping the Cincinnati Bengals get that win that week, showing that, hey, we can play with these contenders and we can beat them. Now, that was in Cincinnati, not at Arrowhead, probably one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. That, and you got to consider Seattle's home field advantage as well. But that team is not in the playoffs. So, I am going Kansas City here. As much as I've been, a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals this season, I got to go with Kansas City just for the mere fact that, hey, they're one of the best teams in the NFL for a reason. They were fighting for that number 1 seed. They just barely didn't get it. Dolphins going to help out the Chiefs there like they did in previous years, beating the Patriots in the final week of the season, stuff like that. But Kansas City has shown that, hey, we've had our hiccups early in the season, but we found a way to continue to get wins, have a good run, and now we found ourselves back in the AFC Championship, Super Bowl on the line, or a ticket to the Super Bowl on the line, and I don't think they messed that up. I think Kansas City wins this game, but I would not be surprised if it's a close one. I think Joe Burrow is one of those rising QBs. He's a number 1 overall pick for a reason. He's helped Cincinnati get into playoffs in his second year. Who knows what would have happened in that first season if he had not torn his ACL, so who knows. But second year as NFL quarterback, and he's leading his team into possibly Super Bowl, currently AFC Championship. Now let's get into NFC Championship, the later game, 6:40, San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. And this one's interesting. It's interesting because, one, San Francisco swept the Los Angeles Rams this season, 2-0, helped them get into the playoffs in that terms because in Week 18 they played the Rams and won an overtime game to punch their ticket into the playoffs. And ever since, they defeated teams like the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. Now, those are 2 pretty tough teams to get into the NFC Championship. And when you beat those 2 teams, I think anything is possible for this San Francisco 49ers team. I would not be surprised if they win, but it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, even DJ will contest to this, that it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Last season, we saw it happen with the Saints. They beat the Buccaneers twice, helped them win the division. But then they got into the playoffs, played the Bucs, lost to the Bucs. So it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. I think it's possible, but there's too much riding for this Los Angeles Rams team who have had so many new acquisitions. They lost one of their best receivers in Robert Woods, but they do have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in Cooper Kupp. And Matthew Stafford's throwing him the ball. I think there's so much riding on this Los Angeles Rams team, and they have found a way to find themselves in the NFC Championship, and I think they will win because they just have too much going for them. But who knows? With the San Francisco 49ers, the season they're having, it wouldn't be shocking. Point in case, I'm going with the Rams, but no one's here by mistake. I think all these teams got here for a reason, and they're the top 4 teams in the NFL left. And that's because they played really well when it mattered. And surprisingly enough, the records are all the same, 12-7 for both of the away teams, 14-5 for both of the home teams. Find that pretty funny. But that's pretty much it for the game picks. Let me know what you guys think of these game picks. And then on top of that, just let me know what you guys think of the Pro Bowl. I'm not doing Pro Bowl game picks. Doesn't count in the standings on the site here. But let me know who you guys are going to think is going to win, who has a better roster, AFC or NFC. And last but not least, for the Super Bowl, I'm going to see what we can do in terms of having the guys together for it. Might be virtual, might just do one in person with Matt. We'll see what happens for the Super Bowl. But let me know who you guys think is going to go to the Super Bowl. My pick so far right now is Kansas City and the Rams, which is a matchup that we should have had about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, when we got the Rams versus the Patriots instead of the Rams versus the Chiefs, because like in the overtime rules, Patrick Mahomes didn't get a chance to get the ball because the Patriots got the ball and scored on their first possession a touchdown. So it is what it is. I think it should be very interesting. And, hopefully my picks go out right. But the best I could do is get into second place. Real quick, let's go back to it. Let's see what the guys are picking. Right now, Chris is going with the Bengals. Eddie and Steve are going with the Chiefs. If I had to put money on it, I'd say DJ is going with the Bengals. And Matt is going with the Chiefs. And then for the San Francisco-Los Angeles game, we have Chris and Eddie and myself going with the Rams. Steve is going with the 49ers. Matt is going to go with the 49ers because he likes Kyle Shanahan. And then DJ is going to go with the Rams. So let me know what you guys think of those picks. But yeah, that wraps up the conference championship game picks. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next one.